Hello, I am the body swapped version of Scotty. No, I'm just kidding. So, before I begin, I'm actually recording this in the middle of February, but this is the first review of March after birth month. The reason why is because I wanted this to be the first review of March, but I cannot wait till March to watch it. It's freaky. And I'm watching this as I'm speaking. I believe it is the 17th. Yeah. Of February. And we got the freaky. And when this came out, during a time where, movie theaters, not so much, and so I wasn't, if the whole pandemic hadn't happened, I probably would have went to see this because I was very interested in it. It's from the same director of the Happy Death Day movies, which I like both of those movies just fine. The first one's really good. I think the second one is still decent. It's directed by Christopher Landon, who also did Paranormal Activity 4, I think, which Catherine Newton was also in. And I can look here. I have it right somewhere. Okay, it has to. Hold on. Yeah, he did the marked ones. He directed the marked ones, which is odd because Catherine Newton was in 4, although he did write that one, I think. But anyway, this one tells the story of Millie. She's this, of course, shy girl, which is not the character that Catherine Newton usually plays, but if you've seen Supernatural, she can play a strong, confident female. But she's shy and she's kind of, she's got 2 good friends, but she's not popular. And then we have Vince Vaughn playing the Blissfield Butcher. I'm just going to be calling the Butcher from now on. And the opening scene to this is fantastic. Mostly because that douchebag from the new Saved by the Bell gets killed and it's fucking awesome with the... It's all... Look, if you see my video on it, I hate the new Saved by the Bell. It's just trying to be progressive, and it's not Saved by the Bell. And I believe it's the guy who plays Mac Morris, which sounds like a parody name. He's one of the teens that gets killed at the beginning of this. I think it's him. But, so yeah, and then the butcher steals this dagger. Now, we're made to believe that by him stealing this dagger, he knows what it's supposed to do, but he's just as surprised as she is when he wakes up in her body. So, I don't know. Did he steal it just because it had a nice jewel in it? Maybe? I don't know. But he steals it from these rich people. And then people, he kills the kids and then steals it. And then he attacks Millie on the football field and this witch's body. I know it's Aztec, so when he goes to stab her, you see a Aztec pyramid, which is kind of cool, but if you don't, they explain it partway through the film. So the fact that you see it right at the beginning without any explanation is just what's that mean? What's that? But, and it has this standard body switch tropes, you see Millie and her friends have a special handshake. So I'm sitting there going, okay, what's going to be the tell? What's going to be the thing that she has to do to prove that it's her? And then they do this handshake thing. I'm like, that. There it is. This weird whatever thing. I'm like, there it is. And then she does this cheerleading thing first when she's the butcher. And I'm just like, why did you start with that? And then she's like, come on, shake it up. I'm like, You just start with that. And then so, throughout the film, you've seen that she has a crush on this football player played by Uriah Shelton, who's from Girl Meets World. He plays Josh in Girl Meets World, and he's the hunky jock, despite the fact that he's skinny as a twig. They let this guy play football. I don't know. I went to school with a bunch of big, beefy guys that played football, not this skinny little dude. But, yeah. And there's a point in the film where she has to convince him that it's her because they capture the Millie butcher Millie's body, but then they have to take him because he was there too, so they have to convince him. And so as Vince Vaughn recites this poem that we've never heard before, and I feel like there was a deleted scene here. Like, he was supposed to find the poem, but I don't think at least I didn't see the scene about the poem, but, you know. And this does lead to a kind of cringy scene. Not that I'm against, guy-on-guy stuff. I mean, I don't need to see it, but I'm not against it. But you have Vince Vaughn and this kid. He's 23 years old. I looked it up. So it's, it's fine, but it's just like the two guys kissing, and I'm not against that by any means. You want to be together by all means. That's fine, but it was cringy. It's just, you have a 50-year-old Vince Vaughn and a 23-year-old Uriah Shelton. It's creepy. And even he's like, oh, they kiss, and then they like, he puts a hand on it. Oh, maybe we should wait till my hands are smaller than yours. And that does come back later in the film. I want to say here, Vince Vaughn, I've never been a big fan of Vince Vaughn. People are going to hit me on this, but I thought he did decent as in the Psycho, 98 Psycho film, the remake, the Gus Van Suckfest movie. I thought he was good in that role. Not as good as Anthony Perkins. Norman Bates. I thought he was good as Norman Bates. Not as good as Anthony Perkins by a mile, not as good. By miles and miles. But I thought he did alright. I thought he was the best thing in that film compared to all the other shot for shot. Julianne Moore is fine, but yeah. Now, I don't really think I've seen him in anything else, really. I missed all those comedies he was in, like Wedding Crashers and Old School, which is it's on my list for cinematic journeys. So, yeah. But I never, was drawn to his works. And to be honest, I wanted to watch this because I like Catherine Newton. I liked her in Supernatural. I like this Christopher Landon, whatever. He directed Happy Death Day. So that drew me into it. Vince Vaughn was not on my radar. Now he is. He was fantastic in this. He played the girl role. So he plays this stone cold killer. And you're like, that's okay. So he's pretty good. And then once he has, her trapped in his body, he becomes, comedian Vince Vaughn again. And it's fantastic. He plays it very well. There's the scene. And it's a little cringe, but, you need to have this kind of scene if you're swapping, especially if it's a man and a woman, or a male and a female swapping, where he's standing there and going, making it flop in the freaking bathroom stall, which, yeah, he's like, peeing standing up was real cool, and then she turns to talk, and you can hear it veer off, and I'm like, yeah, you gotta keep it on the track when you peeing, because you can't turn, or it'll, women don't know. And then she asked the question, do I wipe? You can, because women have to wipe when they're done. Guys don't have to, but you can, if you like keeping it, nice and clean down there. But, yeah, and you have the kills in this are fantastic. Like I already mentioned, take the two sides of the tennis rackets, killing that kid, and then you have the champagne kill at the beginning of this too, and then there's when these. Okay, this is the one scene that I kind of just rolled my eyes at, cause so after the butcher gets into her body, she becomes more popular because of her attitude. And so they're at this party at this old mill, and they lure her to the back, these three jocks. Well, there's one jock, and there's two back there, and the jock's like, you have 3 holes. He's something about math, and he's like, you have 3 holes, there's 3 of us. It works. I'm just like, what is this? But then she breaks open she pours out the alcohol, busts the dude over the head, slices the other dude's neck, and then takes the main jock and she chainsaws him in the nuts, man. He chainsawed my nuts, man. Just and then you don't really see the full murder, but you see the aftermath when the gay friend comes in and sees it. There is a funny scene with him, but I did kind of roll my eyes. So when they capture the butcher and her body, they have it tied up, and I did kind of laugh at this because she's trying to convince Booker. She's like, Booker, Booker, and I'm like, okay, you can tell that it's acting, with the Booker, and then Josh. I'm not going to keep calling him the gay kid. Josh comments, which is really weird because, the Booker, but Josh says that his mom's out of town for 2 more days. It'll be fine. And I'm like, is that foreshadowing that she's going to show up? She does. And I'm like, okay, she's going to let him go. And then she's going to let her go. And then she's going to get killed. And then Josh is going to be like, oh, you killed my mom. But no, I don't think she dies, but then they're up against the door. They lock themselves in this room and up against the door, and I'm like, they can stab through the door, right? And just then, knife comes through next to the guy's head because you can't kill off one of the main characters. And yeah, so I do have a bit of a problem. I mean, it's not really a problem. I was going to have a problem, but they kind of, sort of. So, during this, it's shown that her friends are helping, that it appears to the people that they're helping the butcher. And so, the cops are after them too, the friends. To the point where the African-American friend, the African-American female friend, I don't remember her name, I'm so sorry, but she tries to get the knife that's in lockup because it got left behind on the football field. And so, yeah, the cops are aware that they're kind of working with it, but then, the girl says, oh, we've been forced to work with them, and then that backfires. And Millie's body is committing these murders. People saw that jock walk with Millie to the back. They were aware that something was going on back there. And then all 3 of them are dead. There are witnesses that have her there at the same time as the murders were happening. And she was covered in blood. She can't just get off scot-free. And the fact that it just sort of ends. No, not ends, but I don't like the false ending to this. So the final showdown, so to speak, has the ritual happening. They think that they missed it because they got to be done by midnight, but it turns out the kid said it 5 minutes ahead because he said that early in the film, so we gotta come back to that. And so they do the thing, twist the bodies, and then the cops shoot 6 times. Shot him 6 times. Is that supposed to be a callback? I don't know. They shoot him quite a few times, but he's still alive. You think that's over? They have the wrap up. Millie and Booker kiss, and you think, okay, it's all wrapped up. But then they us over to the ambulance. And they show that he's still alive, and then he shows up at their house. They have a final showdown, and then she shoves this broken piece of wood right through his heart. And it ends on some weird, cringy tagline. It's like, you could have just ended, especially since I read there might do a sequel. How, if Vince Vaughn is dead, how can you continue this? Unless you have a random crook break into the police department, steal the knife, have it be like he had a partner or something. I don't know. But leaving on that cliffhanger where they've taken him away and you think maybe he's still alive, that could have left for something, you know? Especially since I know Christopher Lambert likes to do sequels and, have some loose ends. But who knows? Who knows? But I just didn't like the false ending and then the real ending at the end where she makes that cringy line. I don't remember what it was, but it's like don't fuck with me or something like that. Or, I don't want to be fucked with it. So, I don't know. It just kind of... They had the whole, we're coming around, full circle, I apologize, this and that. There's a subplot where, her dad died and she's going to go to college. They wrap that up. Oh, I don't want to go to college. I'm like, why would you? You got a boyfriend now, It's just... That's fine, but... I just don't think you needed to have that Vince Vaughn come back into this. You could have set that up for a sequel. Who knows? But all in all, I enjoyed this film. There's some good comedy. There's some cringy comedy. There's some a lot of good kills in this. Very enjoyable. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. Not spectacular like I thought it was going to be, but I didn't expect much anyway. But, so, yeah, 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Freaky? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one. I also like to do explain how they switch. We're on Freaky Friday. You don't even know. Except for it's a fortune cookie in the remake. I don't know.